decided you at school while we played and we.
Well, well, well. We are indeed back again. And yep, the microphone is plugged in. Headphones, check. Guest, check. Live, I believe so. Hopefully, the audio is all good in the hood. People can let me know. Tonight, a bit different because not just little old me, right? Someone a lot better than me. So you don't have to just put up with me tonight. I have got a guest on, and she will be discussing an event that will be happening this April, at the end of this April. Alex will explain it a lot better than me. So it will mainly be aimed at people in the United Kingdom. But with that said, I think it is a kind of across the board event as well. So I look forward to hearing from Alex. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to say hello in the chat because I'll be there all day. We'll come to the chat maybe in a bit, but what I'm going to do first is introduce me because I'm here as well in full bot form tonight. Yeah, I always say that when I show myself because about 2 years ago, I had a incident with a person who came on the channel and tried to claim I was an AI bot and a shell and working for I don't know Bill Gates or some entity like that, which is quite comical. But I kind of felt sorry for the guy. I mean, I understand it. You get to a point where I shouldn't laugh, but you kind of get to a point where you don't know what to trust, what to believe, and you've kind of got to question everything. But um, there is an extent. You take a lot on the chin. You take everything with a pinch of salt. Don't dismiss it straight up. I always feel that could be a mistake to just all out dismiss. So unfortunately, you're going to have to see me visually tonight. But what I'll do is I'll bring on. It's not often that I get a guest, so I'm hoping I can actually work it. I'll bring on Alex, and we'll introduce Alex, and then Alex can tell us about the event. So, good evening, Alex.
Good evening.
There we go. We actually done a live stream last night and on over on the last Jacobites, and I should have got the link for it. If I was smart, I would have. Right? Maybe I'll be able to do that during the show. But how are you keeping?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. A bit busy at the moment, but not
Yeah.
bad.
So are you arranging this yourself, or is it a core group of people arranging the
Um,
event?
I'm kind of arranging it. I've got people backing me up and I've got people helping out. But yes, I'm kind of arranging the bulk of it in some ways.
Cool.
But there's
And
certainly people helping.
in the group, the Last Jacobites, the Facebook page,
Yeah.
it's been on the go now for quite a few years. I think Ian's been behind it
Yeah.
since I don't know 2014 or the independence referendum, if you like. Totally fixed, but there you go.
Yeah.
So it's I know of it, and I did used to do a show on the Last Jacobites until basically I never had the time. But maybe in the future I will do it again. But it's certainly a page that I would promote, and I have done in the past. And as you know yourself, I actually picked up a strike just
Yes.
recently. When I looked
So
back
going
on
back 2 years, wasn't it?
yeah, it was about the American election, but when I looked back on the video, it was, I think, yourself, Karen, Ian, and Andy. So I'm hoping, kind of thought, oh well, if it's Andy, that's all right. I'm happy to take a strike for Andy because I've got a lot of respect and time for the gentleman Andy, an ex-police officer who knows the score. I've got a lot of time for Andy, so maybe it was something that he said, but you don't know. That YouTube don't tell you exactly what was wrong or exactly what you said is wrong. They just blanket the whole lot with medical misinformation. Which there's a guy a gentleman in the chat tonight sent some who he's currently in YouTube prison for the same medical misinformation, but it won't be. It's comical. Even still today, the truth. Well, what happened is all coming out, and still people like us get censored on YouTube, which is quite comical. So yeah, we picked up a strike for the last Jacobites, and if I remember correctly, that's the second that I've picked up. So we're gathering them up now. One more, and that's a potential deletion. We're already in that situation at the moment, but
I
hey,
will
that's the
try my best not to get you
yeah.
to get you
Well,
another one, but I'm
on
not really good at holding my tongue.
yeah, the channel that we're on tonight, I put it on the backup and the third, and I've put it on Twitter as well, my Twitter page, which is basically, I think there's a tumbleweed that watches on Twitter. That's about it. So, but yeah, I certainly promote the page, even though I've picked up a strike. Hey, if it got strikes, then that tells you exactly what it's all about, basically. Um, YouTube don't like it; they don't want it, probably because it's the truth, and they disguise it as, "Oh, we need to ban it under your safety," right? Keeping people safe. That's what they say. So yeah, I certainly promote it, and I'm more than willing to try and attend the event and promote it as much as we can. And I'm sure people will look forward to hearing what you've got to say. Do you want me to add the slides just
Yes,
now?
you can. Yeah, if you.
Can I manage that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. So I'll let you just kind of take it away if you want.
Yep. No worries.
Cool.
Just before I get going, just because it brings it to my mind, I am from today. I'm restriction free on Facebook. I may shortly be restricted again because I may have made a comment on their new task force they're launching about grooming children, about whether
Oh,
they're going to
Jesus.
investigate the Scottish sex education that the
Yeah.
schools are grooming children with currently.
Oh, God's
So,
sake. Yeah.
so I'd probably be restricted again soon, but
Yeah, that sounds like they might. They won't like you being
they won't like that
against
comment.
that stuff.
No.
Of course, the agenda, it's all for that. Terrible. When you get right down to it, it's so brutal and sickening. It really is. And a lot of people, they don't want to hear about it. They simply don't want to hear it. And it's got to be said as well. This stuff, it's got to be exposed. That's the best thing we can do. It's about the only thing that we can do,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Yeah.
But of course, people like yourself and others, they're making a bit more than talking, doing a bit more, trying a bit of action. And I would certainly not knock anybody who's got any ideas of how to even bring attention to the tyranny that we're under. So I'll certainly promote that. No two ways about it. So I'll let you go on then, Alex.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but you know,
Cool.
we usually end up off on one. Right, there are, as we all, I imagine we all know, there are so many things that we need to worry about, so many agendas, so many plans, and so much crap they are throwing us. But what we think is one of the most serious issues at the moment is how fast they are trying to take us into a third world war. They've been throwing, which was actually what I was banned for originally, making comments reference the money they were throwing at Ukraine and behind organisations such as the Azov Battalion. Probably shouldn't say too much because I don't want to get, like I say, William, another strike. But they are trying to back us in to a world war as fast as they can. And if they manage to do that, the situation that the West is in, the situation that NATO's in, there is a considerable chance that that goes nuclear. We do not want to be in that situation. We want to be back in them taking us into war. And we do not want it to be done in our name. So what we are organising, and I would love anybody that's in the United Kingdom, I'm saying the whole of the United Kingdom, not just Scotland, to get involved. We are organising the Long Walk to Peace and Freedom, and we're actually marching from Glasgow to Westminster. And it is a march or a walk. It will be on foot. It will be 25 days, and it will be covering that distance in the 25 days. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to be able to do that for a moment. I'm not asking everybody to be able to do that. If you want to do the entire walk, if you want to get involved, then I would love that to happen. But if you can get involved in any way, shape or form, that is what we'd need. So this is what we are promoting. It's a long walk, as I said, to peace and freedom. It's leaving on Saturday, the 29th of April from Glasgow. And basically what we're saying is if you're against the war, if you're against us sending more and more arms to Ukraine when our own people are suffering, when our own people cannot pay their heating and lighting bills, when our own people cannot afford the food in the supermarkets because it's going through the roof, if you're against us doing that, if you're against them turning this into a hot war, boots on the ground, sending our sons and daughters to die for a proxy war and eventually for a war with NATO, because we can all see the agenda, we can all see where it's going. If you're against any of that, then come and join us. If you think our leaders need to be told, and I say leaders in the loosest sense, because we all know that every politician is dragged into that position or installed, and we all know the people that install them. So if you think our leaders in that sense need to be told enough is enough, then come march with us and tell them not in our name. Now, we are going, like I said, from Glasgow to Westminster, and it's a 25-day march. And I'm going to give you some of the idea of where we're going and when we're going, in the hope that some of you may be interested in joining us. But why are we calling it the Long Walk to Peace and Freedom? Because we are after them to reach a state of peace with Russia and China and stop trying to take us into war. And we're trying to promote freedom from the fear of a thermonuclear war being on our doorstep. So this is what we're doing. Like I said, it's going in stages. We have 7 stages. We have stage 1, which is a 3-day stage from Glasgow to Moffat, starting at Glasgow on the 29th of April and arriving in Moffat on the 1st of May. Stage 2 is a 3-day stage from Moffat to Carlisle, starting in Moffat on the 2nd of May, with a joining point for people to join us at Gretna on the 4th, an mini event in the afternoon at Carlisle on the 4th of May in the afternoon. We have stage 3. That's 4 days from Carlisle to Lancaster, starting at Carlisle on the 5th of May, with people joining us at Penrith, hopefully on the 6th of May, and an afternoon event in Lancaster on the 8th of May. Stage 4 is a 3-day march from Lancaster to Manchester, starting at Lancaster on the 9th of May, people joining us at Preston on the 10th, at Bolton on the 11th, and with a half-day event at Manchester on the 11th of May. Stage 5 is 5 days from Manchester to Birmingham, starting at Manchester on the 12th of May, with people joining us at Macclesfield on the 13th of May, at Stoke-on-Trent on the 14th of May, at Warsaw on the 16th of May, and with an afternoon event at Birmingham on the 16th of May. On stage 6 is a 4-day from Birmingham to Milton Keynes, starting at Birmingham on the 17th of May. People joining at Coventry on the 18th of May, joining at Daventry on the 19th of May, and at Milton Keynes with an afternoon event on the 20th of May. And the final stage is 3 days from Milton Keynes to Westminster, starting at Milton Keynes on the 21st of May, people joining at Luton on the 22nd of May, at Watford on the 23rd of May, and arriving in Westminster on the 23rd of May. So if anybody is interested, if anybody wants to be a part of it, I've given you 7 stages that you can get involved in, giving you the option to get involved in the whole march, which is 25 days. We will be camping, we will be keeping the costs down as much as we can, and we will be getting there as quick as we can. It's going to be hard work, I'm not saying it's not. But those are the 2 biggest options. But what we want is people to support us. Now, if you can do the march, great. If you can do a stage, fantastic. If you can do a day, come and join us for a day. If you can come to one of the events, come and join us at one of the events. If you can do an hour, if you can do a minute, do whatever you can do. And come and join us. Come and see us off if needs be, if nothing else at Glasgow, and come and do whatever you can do. That's all I'm asking, because we have a lot of battles on the table. But if we can stop them pushing this agenda, pushing us into World War III, then it cuts back the options to use that as an excuse for the rest of the tyranny. It cuts back the option for them to use that as an excuse for the fuel going up, for the cost of living going up. It takes the excuse for them. If they can be persuaded, if they can be pressured into having to seek a peaceful solution, then maybe we can take one of their excuses away, and maybe then we can start fighting the rest of this crap. So thank you for giving me the time to speak to you. Thank you very much, William, for letting me come on and present this. And please consider it. If you do want to get involved, there is a Telegram group that's only just been set up, so there's not many members on, so don't take that too much to think, because it's only just been set up. And it's t.me/the long walk to peace and freedom. And if you want to check for other updates on the events, then it's on the Last Jacobites Facebook page, which is facebook.com/patriotsco.uk. Okay. Thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah, excellent. Do you know this? I kind of feel that, just sort of expanding on what you said at the end there, I feel that anything whatsoever that can, even make a tiny wee dent in the plans, and like the smallest spanner in the works that knocks it back, even if it was only to knock it back a week, I don't know, it would be still worth it in my own view, because if we keep doing that, then we keep knocking them back, and I can't see the harm in certainly trying and certainly bringing attention to the situation that we're in, because sometimes it does take these kind of events, and I could imagine that the media, they'll try and, I don't know, discredit it, demonize it, probably. Oh, they're all bloody conspiracy theorists, or I mean, you know what the media are like. So, but that, from what I've seen, excuse me, from what I've seen in the past, that backfires on them.
Yeah.
So it tends to actually benefit any given event or movement that they try and demonize or make out to be complete nonsense. People tend to think, oh, actually, I might check it out myself. So it will certainly draw attention to a lot of people, and if it does knock it back, then it was the right idea, most certainly. So I'm certainly behind it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't doubt they will try to find some way to demonize us or some way to ignore it. But the thing is, and I'm not to putting down any protests that anyone does. I've certainly been on enough of them, but it's something different. And I think it may take the press slightly out of reckoning, because from my knowledge, that's not been massively done since the days of things like the Jarrow marches. And it's, I mean, people will go and march for a day. To actually march from Glasgow to Westminster, I think will have an impact. And if we can get numbers doing it, and like I say, I know not people can. I know not everybody can suddenly give up 25 days. If you can, speak to me, contact me. I'd love to hear from you. But it's, I mean, it's, like I said, I think it may just take them out of reckoning. It may just, sorry, I'm easily distracted. William knows this, we should do by now. But it will, I think it may just take them back, because I think it may just be something different enough to get the attention of the press. And for the first few days at least, or the first stage of us getting into any area, they might be more, what's this? What on earth is this? Before they snap over into their usual demonization.
Yeah. It's, I find it a wee bit strange, because, I mean, we're kind of on the brink of this orchestrated world of complete war, basically. It kind of feels like it's just waiting in the wings, and everybody can basically see it.
Yeah.
And even people still supporting Ukraine with Ukrainian flags. But with that being said, we're on the brink of this potential catastrophe, and most people, they don't even see it, or they don't care. Yet when Iraq was going to get invaded, fucking hell, everybody was up in arms. And of course, that made no difference anyway. But when it comes to basically trying to hold our government to account, there's no demand for it. And it kind of disheartens me a bit, because maybe there is, and I don't see it, but I feel that there should be more. It's that kind of feeling you get when I guess you wake up and it's like, why isn't anyone done anything about this? And of course, it's not that simple, but I feel certainly the more people do, the better. I mean, you could try something that might not work, but it could spark an idea that might then work, or so forth. You would never know. But as long as we keep going on the right track against it, then I can't see that being any harm whatsoever. It would certainly be better than sitting on our hands and doing nothing and waiting for queuing on. But I kind of get disheartened as well with the complete lack of call for peace. There's no call for peace whatsoever. Nowhere whatsoever. All you hear about is, oh, support Ukraine, NATO this, NATO that, give them all your money, give them weapons, give them your wife and your dog. I mean, honest to God, why all at the same time we pay extortionate prices for food and, well, what's left of the food, basically. And it seems like, remember we talked about the poly crisis, all these
Yeah.
multiple crises just happen to pop off sort of in lockstep. And one of them that I didn't see coming is this current agenda with the trains crashing and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I never seen that coming, but it kind of makes sense as well. It's like, yeah, they would certainly jump on the back of that. In the way that it's happened, I think a lot of people are beginning to think, well, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? This is a bit strange, right? I mean, it appears to be every day, almost every other day, we're hearing about a derailment of toxins or chemicals or a rare mineral or, I don't know, wheat. But I don't think we're quite going to hear the end of that yet either. I reckon that I shouldn't laugh, but I reckon that'll go on. And surely people have got to start asking questions there. I mean, that's basically coming out of the blue, that situation. It wasn't happening going into the end of last year, I don't think.
No,
It
there's
appears
a
to be.
story behind it. We just don't know quite where we can have guesses. We don't know quite where they're going with it yet. But it will be what their narrative is when they actually address something that's way beyond the level of coincidence that you have to worry about. And that could be pushing along the false flag line. That could be pushing something else, but it's not simple and it's not straightforward and it's certainly not a coincidence.
Yeah. Train apocalypse, Wendy said. I think it's more a world apocalypse, to be honest.
Yeah.
You kind of get that feeling sometimes, the way it's going, but I think we could see more. I read a story about an old oil tanker. I can't remember where it is exactly, but it's got 100 million barrels of oil on it, and it's been beached or anchored and abandoned for decades. I think since the 80s or something like that. But they are saying it's definitely going to explode. That's what they're saying. And I kind of thought, wait, what? It's going to explode. So it's not, oh, it's going to sink or get stolen. The oil get siphoned by pirates or anything like that. Oh, no, it's going to explode, right? And it's like, right.
Well,
And
know that.
yeah, and what they said, oh, it's not a question of will it explode? It's a question of when will it explode? And I thought, Jesus. I can't remember exactly where it is, but they reckon when it does explode, it's going to be serious issues. in the surrounding area. So a major incident will be declared there at some point. And by what they're saying, it's not even a question might, it's a question when. But I was quite staggered at it's going to explode. I thought, well, who's put the bomb on it? Like MI5 or CIA? I don't know, but crazy world that we're in. Excuse me.
I will never understand this attitude when the person's there telling you where all the bodies are buried and nobody thinks to ask if they're the fucking serial killer. Sorry, I
Yeah.
don't know if YouTube has a problem with language.
No,
or
you're
not.
all right. You're all right. I swear quite a lot. I try not to, but it happens, right? It happens. I'm gonna add to the stream to screen share. Let me get the comment away. How do I put? Can I put us both? There's going to be a million of us now. Oh, a bloody moth just flew in the bloody window.
Dear.
Good to see because there's not many of them, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Although it better fly away because my cat's here. It'll get eaten. But someone said in the show that we done last night, oh, there's not many moths anymore in the street because they're not attracted to the new lighting in the streets they've got. And I thought, oh, that's quite interesting that. Because I mean the insects and basically wildlife as a whole is incomplete. It's basically getting annihilated.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so are we. We are getting it at every turn.
Yeah.
My cat's snoring, so you you might hear her snoring. I'll take you. I want to show you. I mentioned yesterday to you about the World Economic Forum, and I kind of think people like Bill Cooper, who they knew about the agenda way back in the late 80s, the 90s. They knew all about it. They knew where it was going. They knew the agenda. And
They're not
today,
even hiding it, are they? Agenda articles, sorry.
I know. They don't even make any bones about it whatsoever. And I think they would be staggered if Bill could see this today. He would be like, "Wow, they do not even hide it anymore. It's in the complete open, basically." And agenda articles, how the pandemic accelerated digital transformation in advanced economies. Oh yeah, the pandemic helped out there, right? It's quite lucky that really, when you think about it. I guess it'll be for our benefit again.
Of course.
It's funny how the pandemic helped quite a lot of things as well to get implemented.
Almost as if that was the intent.
Yeah, but surely not, right?
Oh no, of course not.
But again, the digitalization of Africa, because yeah, who needs food when you can eat Digibites? We'll go with that. Digitizing the city. Hooray! Sounds great, right? It's heading into this smart world that many people have talked about. And they don't even hide it. Of course, they want it promoted. I mentioned this yesterday to you, talking about the 5G structure. Even in downtown, it must be a priority. So,
I think why?
even if there's no money, the 5G must be rolled out. And of course, we did see that during the lockdown. They still done it. They were still out working, laying the foundations for the 5G network.
Yeah.
how making the most out of the government's tech boom will strengthen public services. Yeah. It's all about the tech now.
I
Drones.
saw an ad today asking whether you'd be happy opening up to a chat bot psychiatrist.
Jesus.
That's going to be health. They are talking smart health. It's not going to be go and see your doctor or go to the hospital anymore. It's going to be a tap into the app on your phone.
Wow. And that I shouldn't laugh, but it reminds me of the movie Idiocracy, where it's like an AI hospital that he goes into, and you won't even get that. It's on the phone or on Zoom, a Zoom appointment. People get them now. My wife got one, and it was so stupid. Honestly, it because it was an appointment where you had to go in and see them physically. So I don't know why you would be wasting your time doing it on the phone to then just say, "Well, right, come in." Not only that, she I shouldn't laugh, but she phoned up the doctor and she was on the phone for about an hour waiting, only to then be told that she's got a phone appointment, which I thought was quite funny. You could have had it in the time she spent on the bloody phone, but I mean, yeah, that's where we are. They don't seem to want anyone at the hospital still. I seen this. This is a quote that always stands out. I always tend to think about it. It's from a French. I think he's a poet or philosopher. Montesquieu, I think his name is. Do you know? Do you know of him, Alex?
I haven't before today. No.
Nope.
That is
Well, you
very
might have heard the quote in the past. Oh, what have I done? You might have heard that. There is no greater tyranny than that which is perpetrated under the shield of the law and in the name of justice. And that's the world we're in. No two ways about it. It's tyranny, all out tyranny, but disguised as some kind of justice for the world, basically. Not even your community anymore, but for the world, right? Because globally, that's what they want people to think today. They want people to think on a global scale. I read an article about the global food supply, how that needs to be a thing. And I thought, well, surely that's kind of not a good idea to have this big chain interlinked. Surely it would be much better to focus it on an area in a community so it can be self-sustained and keep going without having to rely on, I don't know, Russia, Ukraine, whatever it may be. But of
That's the
course,
duality of what they keep pushing. Because they're telling us we're in the mess we're in because of everything is because of the war. Everything is because Russia invaded Ukraine. Not even the truth of it, but that's how they spread it. And they say we need to get out of reliance on Russia, but now we want a global food chain. What happened to and they want to cut down the carbon footprint, but they want a global food
yeah,
situation. It
talk
doesn't
about
make any sense.
sustainability, right?
Yeah. What happened to your farmer in your little town, growing it and selling it directly to the people in your town? No food, no chain, no carbon footprint to count. But no, that's not their version of sustainable.
And it's again, they build a complex world, a complex society, a complex system where if it snaps at one point, that's it. the whole lot is finished, basically, or there's going to be issues across the board. And we seen that basically when they went into the illegal lockdown, and that it broke every chain in existence, complete knee-jerk snap, and then we felt the effects eventually. And quite funny when they tried to say, "Oh, Brexit, it's because of Brexit," right? Yeah, that was when? How many years ago did that unfold? We're still blaming that, but they stopped short of blaming the lockdown. I think they did come out in the end and say, "Oh, it did hamper a lot of stuff," but they've moved on completely because it's all Ukraine, the war done it, the war done it now. So
They've got a new
what do you
bogeyman,
say?
basically.
hmm So I think if the government was to come out and start promoting self sustainability, even as an individual, as a community, that would give me hope. But of course, they don't. Nothing they ever come out and say is good or beneficial to anyone whatsoever. Every time it's complete nonsense, or I don't know. I mean, what do they even are they even talking about at the moment? The politicians, I couldn't even tell you. To be honest, I don't even know. Is it still gender? Are they still trying to work out what a woman actually is?
I
Because
think
it
they
was that for a
decided that
while.
they can't decide what a woman is, to be fair, because
Mhm.
apparently none of the original clarifications count anymore. Apparently
Yeah.
now have to wait for her to decide.
Jesus. Oh
It's
man. So,
it's
what do
not
you
good.
reckon will happen in the political landscape in the UK? Do you think we'll see a Labour government coming in at some point?
I thought they would. I thought they'd have done it by now. They were gearing up, and this is the thing, and this is the problem. And I'm sure you've been accused of having your tinfoil hat on as much as I've had on occasions. But their plans change just as much as anybody else's do. And they were definitely gearing up November, November time, maybe even back to October to put Starmer in. They were going on about you can't have, and they were pushing the hell out of you can't have another prime minister that wasn't elected, and all this, and we need to do something. And they were pushing all the strikes, and they were pushing everything there to be acting against the current government. And don't get me wrong, I'm not supporting in any way and saying they've done anything good, but Starmer is just another puppet, and none of them are any
Yeah.
better than the other. But I don't know if they're going to do it now. It's gone quiet. It's all gone
hmm
at the moment, and this is why we're talking about going against that, because everything at the moment is pushing the whole war, trying to take us into, as Ian calls it, a coalition of the willing, and then trying to take us into all-out war with NATO against Russia. It isn't going to stay contained if they do that. But that
Yeah.
seems to have taken over from the. I'm not trying to take the conversation back to that, but that seems to have really taken over at the moment from the political side, and they seem to have pulled back from bringing Starmer in. I don't know why exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon Labour could be the ones to push more the current agendas that we see. I think the Conservative Party might have done their bit. It's time for Labour to take the wheel and sink the ship even more, basically. That's what they've done. When I think back to the 90s, the late 90s, and growing up, I kind of had high hopes, high expectations, and it was only it didn't even take 2 decades for me to see that there is no hope. There, in a political sense, there is none. There is none whatsoever. I remember kind of being drawn to politics in the rise of Tony Blair, like this guy who when politics to me before Tony Blair was kind of old people. It was old men, basically. So, like when I think about watching Spit and Image and stuff like that, it was all old characters, old ladies, and here you had Tony Blair, a bit younger, and that kind of I think that would have maybe inspired quite a lot of young people at the time. But like I said, it didn't take long for me personally to see through it, and boy, did I see through it. And I looked into politics. I looked into it right into its core, and it was evil, honest to God. And the people that are connected to it, they're not good people. They are not good people. And I've met some of them, and I know they're not personally good people. And there's one guy that I've not met, the guy Douglas Ross. I don't know if you know, he's the leader of the Conservative Party in Scotland. And I know people who knew him and went to school with him. And he was seemingly a terrible person, a complete bully who would bully not just boys but girls as well. And of course he would probably deny that, being the person that he is.
Yeah.
But he's a complete, in my own view, psychotic nutter. He's the guy he's an MP locally. He's a Westminster MP, I think, or European. And he's also a professional footballing official. So he's got like 3 different jobs where he probably gets paid upwards of 50 to 100,000 each job.
Yeah.
So that points to
He lives
exactly,
in the real world, doesn't he?
yeah, it points to exactly the type of character a psychopath would be. I mean, and you can tell when you look at these people when they're being interviewed or stuff like that, you can see it in them. You can see the complete lack of genuine emotion. And talking about genuine emotion, remember when the guy, oh bugger, not Hancock, was it? Yeah, it was Matt Hancock, but pretended to cry.
Crocodile tears, yeah.
Oh my God, when he pretended to cry, I mean, what was that even about? Why did he do that? Was he taking the mick? Did someone dare him to do it? Because clearly
It's standard, isn't it?
it was clearly nonsense. And when I think back, that kind of makes me angry, to be honest. There he is laughing, pretending to cry. And it's all coming out in the media, but people, they still don't care by the looks of it.
No. And that they're only letting out what they choose to let out. And that's what worries me. It's the people that are sat there sort of patting themselves on the back. Oh, it's okay. It's all coming out now. We've resisted. We've got this far. Well, yeah, you have got this far, but they aren't stopping their plans. They're not stopping their schemes. They're admitting on the one hand that there are serious problems. They're admitting that they're even asking and talking about adverse reactions on the BBC, but it's all a manipulation tool. Because people, when we say something else, when we say the next thing, they say, oh, they never, it was obviously accidental. They were talking about on the BBC, they were talking about there being some problems. And then they'll push back at the whole Hancock thing. And it's politicians. It's just the politicians. They're just out for their own power. They're not really thinking for the people. And they will accept that. But there's so many layers beyond that, so many layers above that, that then all they need to do to push the agenda further is replace one puppet with another puppet, or replace one set of axes with another set of axes. And it just follows and things, and people still don't question. People still believe, and people still think we're idiots and fools and crazies for questioning what makes no logical sense and never did make any logical sense.
No, it didn't from the very beginning, and I mentioned this before. I think we are too kind for our own benefit. As
Yeah.
as the masses, we
Mm.
we give them the benefit of the doubt when we shouldn't. And I've said it before. It's got to be rule number one. You cannot trust the political establishment in the United Kingdom. Rule one. If you remember that simple rule, then you're going to do a lot better off. Because if people remembered that simple rule, they would never have stood up and rolled up their sleeves for the inoculation. Because when it came to pushing the juice, it was the government who were the biggest pusher of it, not even Big Pharma themselves. It was I mean, the politicians may as well had the Big Pharma coat on and all the gear in a laboratory. They may as well have, because they were the ones who sold it. I can't even remember ever seeing any advert from Big Pharma advertising the juice, but when it came to the government, yep, they were advertising it everywhere. So, I mean,
Because half of them have got shares in, and the other half of them
Mhm.
were just on the payroll.
Of course, yeah. How people can trust them is beyond me. And like I said, if they remember that simple rule, then you can't go wrong, basically. But I would add to that, Big Pharma, the pharmaceutical companies, that would be rule two. That would be the two most important rules. And I think a lot of people in the awakening movement, if you like, they are unified on that rule one, where we can't trust the political establishment.
Yeah.
But when you move into the QAnon side of it, that's a bit different. They're not quite united on that front.
Yeah.
So I would be giving that a wide berth. But
Because it's
the
a
majority
psyop.
of people, yeah, the majority of people, they are united on the simple fact, and it is a fact in my view, that we cannot trust the political establishment. And it was the guy, the legend Willie McRae, the he actually got murdered by I think it was MI5 or Westminster who done it. They tried to claim he committed suicide on his way to a holiday home, and he shot himself in the head and then threw the gun away. It was a complete all-out murder. But he
Right.
said, "Oh,
Put himself in the head and then threw the gun
yeah,
away.
mm-hmm, yep."
That's not even
I
possible.
and like 20 meters away, basically. Honest
You
to God, it was
couldn't.
so.
You couldn't shoot
Mhm.
yourself. Sorry.
It was such a unbelievable story. It was clear they murdered the guy. They wanted him taken out, and his wife
I
did
wanted
say,
people to know if they put out that story.
yeah, his wife did say, oh, he had something on the government, but he never said what it was. This is a few days before it. So I don't know what he had stumbled across.
Mm.
I reckon it would have been connected to, he was doing a lot of work with the nuclear weapons in Scotland, but he was also doing work in, I think, the supply of drugs or the drug trade in Scotland. So it could have been either, in my view, connected to
Mm.
that or connected to the nuclear weapons. But whatever it was, they thought, nope, he needs to be taken out. But he's the guy who said in a video, a meeting, people need to remember rule number one: you cannot trust the British political establishment. Oh, my computer went a bit funny. You cannot trust the British political establishment in England or in Scotland. And he was referring to Westminster and the SNP. And that was in the 70s, I believe. I'll make another video on it. I was meant to in the past, so I'll do that, and I'll send you in the future, and you can check it out.
Yeah.
But they clearly took him out. There was no two ways about it. I mean, why would you commit suicide on the way to a holiday home that you had planned and you was going to enjoy yourself? Surely it would be on the way back, right? Oh, I can't face it. It would be on the way back, if
Go back to
anything.
work, you can't face it. I still
Yeah.
can't get past. Like, I still can't get past the fact they expect you to believe that somebody blew their brains out and then managed to throw the gun away. It's not possible.
Yeah. Yep, that's the story. That's
You
what
wouldn't
they
have
went with.
control to throw. You're not going to bleed out if you shoot yourself in the head.
The whole investigation was laughable, to be honest, and they blamed it on the police officers weren't experienced enough for that crime. So that's what it got
If they
put
think
down
you can
to.
throw the gun away after you've blown your brains out, they definitely weren't. Sorry, I'm sorry, I can't get past that one.
Yeah, his name was Willie McRae. You might want to check him
I'll
out.
have to look into that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Is there anything else that you want to cover tonight, or
Not
what have we
especially.
done?
Like I say, if people do want to do something, please consider getting involved. Please consider joining us. We need to do something about this crap. And I know everybody has their own pet battles, and I'm not saying that any of those are wrong or are not serious. But the one thing that stops us being able to do anything, because it gets rid of probably life on this planet, is if they manage to take us into a nuclear war. And it's not a distraction. I know some people will say the whole thing's a distraction. It's not a distraction. Or if it is, it's the only sort of distraction where people are dying. So let's try to take war off the table. Let's try and get that stopped, and then we can fight the rest of the battles, and we can fight the control they're trying to bring in, then we can fight the 15-minute cities, then we can fight the rest of everything. But let's tell them we will not have them taking us to war in our name. Not in our name. No more. Enough is enough. So if you believe that, then come join us. If you weren't here at the start, then it's called The Long Walk to Peace and Freedom. It's leaving from Glasgow on the 29th of April, and we are marching 25 days to Westminster. I'm not asking everybody to do that whole distance, but the Telegram group and the Facebook page of the Last Jacobites, which is a group I'm connected to, are on the screen at the moment. Go on to one of them and find out what we are doing and consider joining us. And let's do something for a day, for an hour, for a minute. Join us and let's tell them not in our name. And I'll get back off my soapbox, sorry.
Excellent. Cheers, Alex. That was good. I don't know if you'll have the time, but we could maybe squeeze in one more before the date. So if you want to do that, then
yeah,
I would be more than willing. I always enjoy chatting to you, so it would be an honor to do it again. And thank you for joining us tonight, Alex. Great stuff. If you hung about, I'll close the stream and we'll get a catch up, right? Cool. So, do you want to say cheerio?
Yep. Goodbye, everybody. I definitely have been on here before because I'm recognised a few of the names, but I'm also recognising you've got a lot of new viewers as well. So
Cool.
anybody I haven't seen before, it's nice to meet you. I've been reading your comments. I've been listening to what you've been saying in the chat. So have a great week and good night, guys.
Cool. Excellent. Catch you later. So we will wrap it up. Let me see. Can I remove? Where did I go? I can't work it. I'm hopeless anyway. Man, I better bring Alex back. I can't work it. It's fine. What we'll do is we'll say cheerio. So thank you, sent some. Oh, thanks as well for the super chat. Sent some. Thank you very much. I'm very, very grateful. We don't get much. But yeah, thanks a lot. I did notice it and I forgot to say before. So much appreciated. Our English brother. Paul from Newcastle, good to see you. And Phil as well in the hood. Where's Phil? Good to see Phil. Justine, the beautiful Justine, always a pleasure. Rob in the hood, good to see you. Thank you to everyone for joining tonight. Wendy, and of course Richard as well. Good to see you and Wendy B. Anyone else that I missed? Bry as well. Good to see Bry. Thank you for joining tonight. I'm going to be live tomorrow, actually. And I think it's going to be about the moon. Shock horror. So there's a few bits of news on the moon. So we're going to get into that. So you might want to look out for it. Rags as well, our Irish brother. A pleasure to see you. So I will wrap it up and I'll catch you all hopefully. It could be tomorrow afternoon. Oh, and by the way, before I go, the spraying today in Scotland, yikes! It was quite bad, and a lot of people were noticing and asking questions. A lot more people, and I did document some of it, and I did say it's gonna be through the roof this year. A lot more people are going to be seeing it. A lot more people are going to be asking questions, and then eventually they're going to roll out the geoengineering like it's not already happening. It'll just, oh yeah, we're going to do this now, because they are going to do it. In my own personal view, they will do it. I hope they don't, but it's looking like it. So I documented some of the spraying that took place today. It wasn't too bad here, but across Scotland, it was seriously bad. And I think it's getting a lot lower as well. So we're going to touch on that maybe tomorrow. So I'll go and see Alex for a bit. And like I always say, don't live in fear. Not for one split second. And remember, no matter what, no matter where, do not comply. And that is about it. Bye-bye.